everyone, welcome back to the ninth Good Chat. As International Women's Day has just passed, I thought it would be a great idea to bring in some amazing women to talk about their journey and shine a light on our YouBeauty campaign. So today we've got Sami and Amanda, our YouBeauty ambassadors, and they're actually lived experience speakers as well. So hi guys, how are you?
Good.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thank you. So we'll start with Amanda, but this is a question for both. Um, can you share a bit about your journey and how you came across the Good Box?
So I've, over the course of my life, struggled with homelessness, mental health, domestic violence. I've been through quite a bit, to be honest, raising my two girls on my own. And I was actually using the Orange Sky service to wash my laundry and to line up for a hot meal. And this beautiful man came over and asked if I would like a good box. And I had no idea what it was. But I was very grateful, and I started reading everything that was written on the box. And when I opened it, I was just really touched. Yeah, it had all sorts of products in there that I desperately needed at that point in time. And the handwritten note, it actually brought a tear to my eye reading that, just to know that someone had cared enough about someone like me to go to all that effort to give me something so nice. And yeah, it really had a huge impact on me.
Beautiful. That really brought a tear to my eye too. That's lovely.
Yeah, just at
Thank
that
you.
point in time when you're so low,
Mm,
and then someone just does something so nice out of nowhere, it's uplifting.
thank you for that. Sammy, do you reckon you had a similar experience?
Unfortunately, no, because my homelessness bout was before I met Garly, who, as you know, is one of the founders of the Good Box. My homeless experience is pre-Good Box. How I came to be an ambassador is Garly is a friend of mine. And when I first met her, asked her, just talking, and what do you do, sort of thing. And she was talking about the Good Box. And I said, "Oh, I wish that had been around when I was homeless." And one thing led to another, and she asked me to be a lived experience. So here I am.
Thank you for that. So Sammy, you said that one of your friends actually received a You Beauty box recently. Can you
Yes.
explain how she felt for the first time opening it?
Very excited. She'd just gotten out of jail, so it was an organisation called Sisters Inside that help women transition. And I picked her up because she to take her to the bus and that. And anyway, she had the box given to her, and she's opening it up. She had asked me if we could go and buy a purse. And then she said, "Don't worry, I've got one." And she
Oh,
was so excited. And it was a really nice purse.
Yeah.
And she said it's a purse that she would have bought for herself. And just all the products, it was all stuff that she needed. It was like a kid at Christmas. She was so excited.
yeah, that's how I felt.
Actually, Amanda, I was going to ask when you received that box, you did say it was full of essentials. I guess what impact did that have on your confidence and sense of self?
Oh, I think it was a huge boost to my self esteem and self worth because when you're struggling, especially when you're at your absolute lowest, you think so poorly of yourself, and you think that everyone else thinks so poorly of you. And to know that people genuinely cared enough to put the time and effort into creating this gift for me of all the products I desperately needed at that point in time and probably couldn't afford, it it's just heartwarming, and it does give you that self-esteem boost. It increases your self-worth just that little bit more, and enough to say, okay, I'm going to try again tomorrow.
I think
Yeah,
it makes yourself seen. Whilst
yeah,
I didn't benefit from the good box, there was one women's shelter that gave me a handbag with a few products in it. And I was just so excited to have a handbag again. And
Yeah.
just the fact that someone saw me. Another example of that was, there's a lot of places where the homeless can go and eat. And quite often there's other charities there that are handing things out. And I got handed a blanket and it had a little note with it and a little felt love heart that just basically said, thinking of you when you're struggling, hold the heart and know that you're loved. And I've
yeah,
been housed now for nearly 8 years and I've still got that note. Despite having lost everything through homelessness and addiction, I've still
yeah,
got that note. I still look at it on my bad days. So that's what I love about the good box is that handwritten note. You've got
yeah.
no idea the impact that can have.
Mm.
Yeah, it's huge.
For
Mm.
sure. I think it's been a very popular part of the box. I would say it's always 99% of the time, the favorite item is actually that note to show that people care.
Yes.
So
That you're human.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just so you both know, this podcast is airing after International Women's Day. So,
Mhm.
what does that day mean to you personally, and how do you think we can better support women in general in crisis?
I think we're doing really well at this point in time. Like Sammy said, there didn't used to be, I mean, even 20 years ago when I was going through homelessness and domestic violence, there wasn't much out there at all.
Yeah,
There was barely anywhere to turn. There was very little understanding of the impact it had on women. I think we were
Mm.
just expected to put up with it, or if you choose to leave, will you pick yourself up and keep going because you left, you know? So
Exactly.
um, I think International Women's Day for me is just about coming together, supporting other women, doing everything we can to make everyone's life better in even the smallest way. Because, like Sammy said, that small note, I mean, it might be trivial to some who haven't had the experience, but when you've been through it, something like that, you do carry it with you forever. And I can guarantee the majority of people that receive that note probably still have it in their wallet or in a book or somewhere at home.
Mm. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. And the thing when you're homeless, you're walking down the street and people do this that I know they don't mean malice by it, but they look away
mm,
and they avoid eye contact,
yeah,
which reinforces the message that you're not worth anything. And most of us that are homeless have gone through childhood trauma, and we have those core beliefs of feeling worthless. And then you
Yeah.
have people in society reinforcing it. And then you expect us to get out of that with no help.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why we love in our corporate programs where we tell people don't ignore, even if you can't give something, just smile, just wave,
But
Yeah,
smile. Give a
absolutely.
smile.
smile and wave.
Say good morning and smile. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So as you guys know, the YouBeauty campaign is all about dignity and care. Why do you think programs like that specifically are so important in helping women rebuild their lives? And would you give any pieces of advice for women currently struggling through something like that?
Yeah, my advice is just keep trying, keep reaching out for support. There are people who care, and one day things will get better. As hard as it is, as much as it seems like it never will, slowly, slowly it will. So just don't give up.
Yeah. And same, just don't give up. Don't
Yeah.
be afraid to ask for help. There are things out there to support you. There's a lot of women's centres now. That's a great start. There's an app called Ask Izzy. I mean, that was a lifeline to me when I was homeless, because we all know, McDonald's
Yeah,
and
so many
places
support.
like that, libraries, they have free Wi-Fi. So most homeless people will have a phone and do know where to go to get access to a bit of Wi-Fi.
Yeah. And don't
And
feel ashamed.
Yeah.
Don't feel
yeah,
ashamed
don't
because
feel ashamed.
I used to. I would feel ashamed lining up for food. I would feel ashamed asking for food vouchers. I would feel ashamed asking for any kind of support because I felt like I was supposed to be able to do it all myself. And especially as a young single mom, you just feel absolutely awful that you're not able to do what's required of you, what everyone else seems to do so easily. But as soon as I started asking for help, as soon as I started sharing my story, uh, things started to change. So, yeah, don't be ashamed.
And for me, my homelessness came after my kids were all grown up and, the marriage had ended and just one thing led to another. And as a middle-aged homeless woman, there's not a lot of help out there because you got to have kids basically or have, be a man. But don't give up.
Yeah.
Just don't give up. And don't feel ashamed. I mean, I had a great childhood. I've got higher education. I worked as a law clerk for 35 years. Homelessness doesn't discriminate.
That's right.
And it can, like, you don't wake up one day and find yourself homeless. It's a series of events that lead you to being homeless. And, as I say, poor choices and bad decisions. And then, yeah, once you're in
And
it,
sometimes circumstance is completely beyond your control, regardless
exactly.
of how hard you try.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, you just find yourself in that spot, and then trying to get out of it without help, it's not going to happen. You need help.
I think
and there are people willing to help.
Yeah, I think going back to the don't give up things you were talking about, you know, the cliche, there's light at the end of the tunnel, is a cliche for a reason, because there is always that change, you know, and I like you guys said, don't give up. And you should be
It
very.
is easier said than done, though. I mean, Sammy and I are lucky to be out the other side of that tunnel, but I know firsthand, and you would know too, Sammy, when you're in that tunnel and people say, just keep going, there's light at the end of the tunnel, you just think, no, there isn't. That's just how.
My reply usually was, yeah, it's an oncoming freight train.
That's how it used to feel, though. It's true.
But yeah,
and now it's just so different, and all the little things along the way, especially the good box, just had such a huge impact. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all those little things that happened along the way to get me to where I am now.
Exactly. And don't be patronizing. Oh, things will get better and all that. That invalidates the person's feelings. Say instead, it really sucks where you are.
Yeah.
And acknowledge.
What can I do to help? You know?
Yeah, what can I do to help? Acknowledge that what they're going through is not good.
Yeah.
Don't try and be positive and, oh, there's light at the end of the tunnel, because you get a sarcastic.
Trivialize it. Yeah. And people generally don't say those things out of malice. They mean well. But at the time, you just think you don't understand. Yeah.
I heard Sammy mentioned Ask Izzy. Can you tell viewers what Ask Izzy is?
So Ask Izzy is an app that basically has a lot of information about services. So it's got, if you're looking for accommodation, if you're looking for food, if you're looking for clothing or vouchers
mental
or
violence support, therapy of any kind, you just Google Ask Izzy and type
you put in your postcode and it tell you within however far everything that's available.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm
very, very handy app.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. So thank you. And I want to thank you guys for your time today. You had such amazing, lovely answers. And hopefully the viewers got a little something for that. Is there any last piece of words you want to say?
No, thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And we're so grateful and lucky to have you guys as our YouBeauty ambassadors. So thank you all, and thanks everyone for watching. Bye-bye.